Jai Hind everyone. I am Himanshu Tripathi and today I am going to deliver a video lecture on design thinking. So today we will see that what is design thinking, how we can understand design thinking more deeply, and what are the main questions which this design thinking approach offers to the designers or to the innovators or to the other engineering community. So let's start our discussion. I just want to start the discussion with a brief history of design thinking. So as you can see in my slide, that design thinking is not a very new word. It is quite old word. There was a professor, scientist, economist. He was in multiple roles. In 1969, he published a book. The name of the scientist was Herbert Simon, and the book title was The Science of the Artificial. In his book, he has published his work, which was basically dealing with that design thinking is basically the analytic process of breaking down ideas and design-centric mode of thinking as a process of building up. Ideas is foundational to the practice. So related to his work, he published the book, and in this book, the first time he introduced the concept of design thinking. The concept of basically meant to building up ideas using this unique approach. So the definition that was given by Professor Herbert Simon was basically related to the transformation of existing conditions into the preferred ones. He suggested that how to transform the existing conditions into the preferred one, to develop something new, to develop something novel, to develop something more useful for the users or for the community. So this was the time then first design thinking was introduced. The next thing is, let's try to understand that what design thinking is offering us. So as you see that design thinking is basically the way that how we can move from problem to solution. Ultimately, our aim is to move from problem to solution. Yes, in this process, we need to identify the problem, and there are certain rules or there are certain well-defined approaches by using which we can define the problem, we can understand the problem in more better way. Then our duty or our target or aim is to come up to the solution. From this journey, in this journey from problem to solution, we need to apply this unique approach of design thinking. That's the motive of our today's lecture, that whether this approach or this approach is required in getting the solution, or we can get the solution directly without applying this design thinking concept. So let's try to understand with one very basic definition that what design thinking offers. So here you can see that design thinking offers us a method to develop innovative services, innovative products, services, business models, and concepts. Anything. This approach can work in any domain. Here, I have written in this definition only that it can offer a method to develop innovative product. It can help us in developing some unique or innovative solutions or services. Yes, if we are interested in developing business, so it can help us in development of business models or any concepts. We can try to find out the solution of any problem with the help of this very beautiful approach, which is known as design thinking. So with design thinking, we may use the obstacles in our path to create something new. Not always the obstacles, or it may not be the more appropriate word in every sense, but yes, most of the time when we are trying to solve any problem, let's assume that we have identified any problem and now we are trying to get the solution. In order to get the solution, we can sense various obstacles or various difficulties or various questions may arise in between. So basically, whenever I'm talking about the obstacles, I am concerned about those questions or those milestones, you can say, that comes into the way of getting the solution of the problem. So overcome those obstacles or overcome those questions, or to get the answer of those questions, we need to learn that how to think out of the box, how to think creatively, so that we can straightforward move towards our goal, or we can get the most suitable or more useful solution for the problem that we have identified. So again, one more approach that is available, and I can explain this approach like this, that design thinking lets us answer the questions that our customer never thought they would have. And later they will say, this is the exactly solution I was looking for, I was waiting for. Most often it happens. In real scenario, you must have witnessed, or everyone knows about it. Whenever we go into the market to buy some product for our use, for ourselves, for our family or home, or for any reason, we may be very clear what are our requirements. But when we are searching the product, it is quite difficult. For example, I want to purchase a new phone, or I want to purchase a new laptop. I know that what my requirement is. When I am looking into the existing products, I may find that something extra is available that I may not require or I may never use, but that thing is available. I may guess or I may think, I am not a gamer, but everybody is basically focusing nowadays towards the gaming smartphones. So every smartphone comes with a tagline. Yes, it is having a very powerful processor and you can play good games, or it is very good screen, multimedia consumption and all. But the user requirement may be different. So this happens. This was only one story. You can correlate this story with the product which you are concerned about. But yes, here I can make this point that most of the time it happens. Customer didn't know that what is the requirement. If you are dealing with some industrial problems or the solutions for the industrial problems, customer may come to you and he may straightforward talk about the outcomes that he need. What exactly the problem is and what exactly he wants, it is very difficult to get that insight from the customer. Design thinking facilitates us to get those insights so that we can understand the problem in better way. Later on, we will see that what are the steps that we can use in solving any problem with the help of design thinking solution, design thinking approach. There are 5 or 6 steps that we can use. And the very first step is empathy. That is basically very helpful in understanding the customer's requirement. So this is all about design thinking, like where we can apply this concept. Still, I have not delivered any specific definition of design thinking because it may not be the justice of this particular problem, because design thinking cannot be defined. It basically depends on users or on the problems that we are going to solve, or the scenario or the team, or there may be so many factors. The next thing, still I will try to define. So while I am trying to defining this design thinking, I can say that design thinking is a human-based approach to innovation. So I come from the engineering background, and I believe that every engineer somehow thinks that I need to do some innovation. Innovation means to create something more useful or to create something which is having more value. So if I want to do innovation, What are the prerequisites? Whether innovation or capability of doing innovation should be inherent inside me. I should be born up with the innovation capabilities. This might not be true, because innovation can be learned, and design thinking is totally supporting this statement. While we are uncovering the pages of design thinking, we will see that how we can learn the innovation, how we can be innovator, and how we can learn the basic steps which may be required for the innovation. So again, I can say that design thinking is a human-based approach to innovation. We want to do innovation, and innovation for the human beings, for the users, actual users which are going to use those innovations. It aims to establish creative ideas, effective business models by focusing on the need of people. This is again, this second sentence which I am mentioning here is totally coming from this human-based approach. Why I am saying that design thinking is a human-based approach? Because it aims to establish creative ideas and effective business models, or any effective product or service, it may be anything. And the main focus during the entire approach is to fulfill the need of people, need of the users, which are going to be the actual user of that product or service or business or whatever it may be. The next thing is that people always wonder, or my students most of the time ask me, design means something to design, like CAD design it may be, or some other electronics design or something. Thinking means something philosophical, like we need to think something. What is the role of thinking in engineering? Because engineering basically runs with the concepts, the fundamentals. But here I've tried to explain that what these two words, design and thinking, what these two words are doing here. So if you read this definition, like I'll read it for you. In design thinking, we apply the methods and approaches of designers to the development of innovations. This relates with the first word, that is design. So design is more scientific approach that we are going to impart while we are doing some innovation, while we are creating something unique, while we are doing something creative. So when we are doing something creative or unique or innovative, we are designing something new, we are putting some values into the existing things. So this shows the scientific approach which is inbuilt or inherent with this subject, that is design thinking. Design means we need to apply the methods and approaches of the designers to the development of the target innovation. And at the same time, we are also engaged in systematic or fact-based analysis, feasibility, economic viability of these innovations. See, if we are doing something innovative, let's say we are making some new product. That product may be very good in terms of design. It is having all the modern engineering concepts, latest technologies are basically included in that product. That product is using those technologies for a better delivery to the customers. But if it is not economically viable, it is not feasible, most of the time, I may not name some innovations, but you can easily find out those innovations, which are innovations, but in practical life, it will be very difficult to use those. So if these parameters, fact-based analysis, feasibility, economic viability, and so on, these parameters are missing from your innovation, then that is certainly not innovation. So to make it a useful innovation, we need to put these parameters, and these parameters are basically reflecting the thinking part of this subject. Thinking means the creativity, the more analysis, more user friendly, more empathetic. So that is the reason, my story, that why we call this subject design thinking, because it involves two critical parameters. The first parameter is design, and the second parameter is thinking. Design is basically more related with some scientific approaches that we are going to use while making some innovations or products. And thinking means our creativity quotient that we are going to implant or impart while making that product or innovation. So I have talked enough about the design thinking, what it signifies, how we can understand the design thinking, what are the meaning of design and thinking, in my opinion. The next thing is, here I have written certain questions. So if our approach is human centric, let us try to understand that whether these questions are being answered by this concept of design thinking or not. The first question is a way to take on design challenge by applying empathy. Yes, it is very true. During my previous slide, I have basically mentioned that to understand user in a better way, we need to practice this tool. And this is the very first step when we'll uncover the pages of design thinking, the stages of design thinking. So empathy is the very first thing. We need to practice empathy, we need to understand empathy, and empathy helps us to understand the users. Because if we are understanding the users, then only we can understand the problem. Then only we can be able to define the exact problem. And if exact problem has been defined, then only we may be able to get the exact solution or the most suitable solution. So yes, I can say that this question is being answered with the help of design thinking, that it is a way to take on design challenges by applying empathy. Design means that we know the technical know-how, we know the technology, we can include that technology while working on any project. But whether that project is going to be user friendly, this project is going to deliver what exactly user is looking for. For this purpose, I can say that we need to include the empathy with the design. Empathy is not the only one thing that we need to include, but yes, as far as this question is concerned, we need to include the empathy. The next question, then, approach to collective problem solving. Exactly, it is true. If we are more human centric, if we are more focused towards the user need, we need to compromise, or we need to, most of the time, give away our own competency set. Like, I may be expert in one technical field or one technology, but I want to solve some problem. I have understood the user, I have defined the problem, and eventually I came to know that my skill set, my technology in which I am more proficient, may not be required in solving that problem. More generally, people try that they intentionally include their skill set and try to solve the problem using their own favorite technology or their skill set. But here, we need to go for the collective problem solving. Collective problem solving means I need to work with a team. When we are going to understand empathy, again, it is a collective problem solving, because as a problem solver, I am not working alone in this whole space. The user is also the part of my problem solving. My team members are also the part of my problem solving. So you can basically expand this collective problem solving in multi dimensions. If we are including users, you can say yes, this statement is true, that Design thinking is an approach to collective problem solving. If you are considering your team, then also this statement holds true equally. The next thing is a framework to balance needs and feasibility. If you remember in the last slide, I mentioned that only designing some part, only designing some product is not sufficient. We need to analyze the feasibility, the viability, whether it may be economic viability or something else. Then this approach becomes complete, like design and thinking. Both things should be there. So I can say that design thinking is a framework to balance the needs. Needs means what user actually looking for, and the feasibility. Whatever we are delivering is actually useful for the user or not. Whatever I've understood from the user, am I able to deliver the same thing? That we need to understand, and this complete thing is coming as a framework in the name of design thinking. The next question is a mean to solve complex or wicked problems. So see, wicked problems are something more complex in nature, like climate related problems or similar kind of problems. To solve those wicked problems or the more complex problems, global warming may be the example. Everybody knows, and we all know, that global warming is a problem nowadays. How to solve that? You've seen in past so many years, there are so many solutions which came. Do you really think that all those solutions are relevant still? Or they are working good? 100% removal of the problem may not be possible with those existing solutions. Here, I would like to suggest that yes, design thinking, the application of design thinking can be very helpful in finding those kind of complex or wicked problems. The next question that design thinking must answer, it is a mindset for curiosity and inquiry. That's very true. If we think, we will find that to get the solution of any problem, the first thing that is required, we should have a correct mindset. We should be ready to get the solution for that particular problem. So, mindset is again a very wide topic, very wide concept that I will try to cover up in future videos. But yes, we should have a mindset for curiosity and inquiry. While we are applying the concept of design thinking in solving any problem, in every stage, it is encouraged to ask so many questions, as many questions as possible. Because if we are not asking the questions, we may not be able to understand the problem as it is existing. So for asking questions, to get deep dive into the inquiry part, we need to have some curiosity, mindset of curiosity. The mindset, like, we want to know about it. We want to solve this problem and solve with the human-centric approach that design thinking is offering. Again, the next thing is the fixed process and a toolkit. Yes, it is a well-defined process. You will see in future videos that what are the main elements of design thinking. And while we are talking about those elements, I can say that design thinking is a fixed process. There are certain tools available for every stage. You want to understand the user problem? There are so many tools. You want to define the problem? Again, we have so many tools. Like brain mapping or idea mapping or emotional mapping. There are so many tools available. So when we are basically focusing on solving any problem, we can apply the design thinking as a fixed process and a toolkit. And this is very useful. Again, the next thing is a problem solving approach to handle problems on a system level. I guess that I have covered this thing. On a system level, if you want to solve or handle any problem, then design thinking is certainly going to be useful. The culture that fosters exploration and experimentation. This is a very unique feature of this approach. We always used to say, if you are practicing design thinking, please ready to be fail, because failure is not going to stop you. But yes, failure is definitely going to facilitate you for getting the more proper or more accurate solution, more user-friendly or human-centric solution. So in design thinking, we first try to understand the user problem, then we try to define the problem, try to ideate the solution for that problem, and in the last stage, we test or implement our solution. If at any stage we are not getting the good response from the user, or from the implementation stage, if we are not getting the good response from the users, again we came back into the previous stage or any other stage, wherever we find any glitches there or whenever we find any improvement is required. So it is a culture. If we are practicing design thinking, we can say that we are practicing a culture, we are believing in a culture which is fostering us for the more exploration, to dive deep into the problem, the user requirement, and more experimentation. We are doing more experimentation. We try one thing. If it is not delivering the proper result or the desired result, we again try another thing. We keep on trying until we get the more user-friendly or the more accurate solution of our defined problem. The next thing is that design buzzword to suggest that designers can do more than just design. Yes, that is very much confusing. What happens? It is now a buzzword. Again, in next line you can say that it is a buzzword in management also. It is very popular. Everybody is talking about in corporates or in industries that design thinking is a new thing. Design thinking basically promotes or basically telling designers to do more. Not only the designing of any product is sufficient, may not be sufficient at all. You have to impart or you have to include more things which can solve the user problem in actual sense. Again, in the management world, if we are designing any solution, we are making any innovation, it will be very helpful to sell it. Here you can get or correlate this thing with the commercial viability of your product or the service that you have created. So I have basically framed these questions to let you understand whether the design thinking is required in today's scenario, what design thinking can offer, and how design thinking can promote the good culture of innovation. Here are some keywords related to design thinking. These keywords I have covered in my previous slides, but yes, if you are practicing design thinking, most often you will go through or you will come across these keywords. The first one is the human-centric, and this is the soul of design thinking. If it is not human-centric, that solution may not be coming from the design thinking theory. That's true. So human-centric is the most important keyword while we are dealing with the design thinking. Always we need to remember, whatever we are doing, it must be human-centric, user-centric, and user is human. We are making products for humans. We are making services for humans. Because they are going to pay us. Business runs as it is. Then it also helps us in getting the speed and agility. It speeds up the process of innovation. Quickly, you can create a good product, good service, which is actually more useful for the target user. Adaptable and flexible. This approach is very much adaptable. Because while practicing this design thinking approach, I can move forward or I can move backward so frequently. If at any stage I figured out that my approach or my solution is not going to be human centric, it is not fulfilling the user's demand or needs completely, I can come back one step or two steps. I can again redefine the problem. I can again try to understand user in a better sense. And again, I can start the journey of making the innovation. That's why I'm saying that design thinking is very much adaptable and flexible approach. Definitely it is a purposeful approach. Our purpose is very clear since the very first slide. Our purpose is to serve the humanity in a better sense. Our purpose is to become an innovator. And for that purpose, design thinking may be the right tool for all of us. One more keyword that is correlated with design thinking is creative and innovative. Actually, these two are again the buzzwords in today's society. More often we say that this company is very innovative, this engineer is very innovative, he has created so beautiful solution. Most of the time we see any good product or service, we say that this is a very creative thing. Very creative work has been done by the engineers or by the people who are behind this product or service. And that can be learned. Design thinking basically facilitates us that we also can be creative. We also can be innovative. If we are following the step-by-step process of this design thinking theory. So it is not needed that you must be creative since your childhood or since whenever you're born. You can learn this skill of being creative. You can learn the skill of being innovative with the help of this design thinking. One more feature I want to include is it is connected and flat. Connected, all the steps included in design thinking are connected with each other. Passionate, all the designers, the design thinkers considered to be the most passionate people because the passion is to create something unique or innovative, human-centric solution to solve any problem in a most suitable way, which can be useful for large number of people. Again, it may become the disruptive technology. Yes. Common way or the regular way of thinking can solve the problems. I'm not denying this fact. But the solution which are coming from the regular way of problem solving or conventional way of problem solving may not be more appropriate or may not be more useful for the end users. For that purpose, we need to create some disruptive intervention. With the design thinking, it is quite possible. Most of the time we have seen that some products come into the market which are working as a disruptive technology. Totally, they are basically removing the usefulness of the previous generations of products. People shifts towards these new line of products. So that kind of disruptive innovations or the disruptive technologies or interventions can be created with the help of design thinking. Here are some more features like inspired, that is also required. Committed, these are the traits of design thinker. High energy, risk-taking ability, fun and playful. Believe me, design thinking approach is a very much fun and playful approach. I have also tried. During the course, my students also tried with some creative assignments. So they are the witness of this fact that design thinking, applying design thinking in solving any problem is very much fun and playful activity. Definitely, it is a risk-taking approach, but believe me, that risk is worthwhile. Every time we are going to solve any problem, there is a risk. If we are concerned about the economic viability or financial things, but yes, we are very hopeful that using this design thinking, we can mitigate risk in a proper way and we can create more user-friendly products. So guys, this was the introduction part of design thinking. In future videos, we'll try to cover up more interesting parts, some tools, the steps which are basically involved. I'll also try to cover some case studies with that. So we'll meet you very soon with a new page of design thinking. Jai Hind.